The Adepta Sororitas, also known more informally as the Sisters of Battle, are an all-female organization that exists as part of the wider religious institution known as the Adeptus Ministorum or Ecclesiarchy. While the sororitas as a whole are often commonly referred to as Sisters of Battle, this informal term strictly applies only to the orders militant of the Sisterhood, who serve as the military arm for the Ecclesiarchy as well as the Ordo Hereticus branch of the Inquisition. The orders militant can attribute their existence to a legal loophole found within the diktat known as the Decree Passive. This decree, which was drafted after the events of the Age of Apostasy, a series of bloody conflicts caused by the renegade ecclesiarch and High Lord of the Administratum, Gog Vandire, was designed to prevent the ecclesiarchy from maintaining a force of men under arms, which in theory would restrict the institution's power. By utilizing the remnants of an all-female warrior cult known as the Brides of the Emperor, the ecclesiarchy were able to circumvent the restrictions of this decree due to the simple fact that the warriors of the Sisterhood were not men. In addition to the orders militant, there also exist a number of other orders, each with their own unique roles and specializations. The most prominent in addition to the orders militant include the orders hospitaller, who specialize in treating the sick and injured, though such sisters are sometimes called upon in order to act as torturers and interrogators. The orders dialogus, who are expert scholars and linguists that are tasked with acquiring and translating texts for the Administratum and the Inquisition, including those of Xenos and heretical origin, and the orders famulus, who serve many of the Imperium's noble families as diplomats and advisors, but also ensure that any disloyalty towards the Imperium is swiftly and brutally quashed. Every member of the Sisterhood displays a fierce devotion to the tenets of the Imperial cult, which in turn leads towards an intense hatred towards Xenos, heretics, and mutants alike, due to them being a blight upon the Emperor's Imperium. And because of this, the sororitas are said to be utterly incorruptible to the temptations of chaos. This religious zealotry, combined with their combat prowess, powerful weaponry, and unyielding hatred towards the enemies of the Emperor, makes the Adepta Sororitas a force that inspires awe, reverence, and even fear in equal measure. One particularly infamous order within the Sisterhood was that of the Order of the Piercing Thorn. The Sisters of the Piercing Thorn were militant scholars famed for their numerous battles against the forces of chaos, combining the aptitude for knowledge of the Order's dialogus with a military philosophy akin to that of commandos. The Order's canoness, Sethano the Gorgon, would go on to become a highly respected and feared individual, with her commands and decrees carrying an authority equal to that of an inquisitor. Despite officially having no additional political power in this regard, Sethano's commanding presence, unshakable faith, skill at arms, and fearsome reputation would not only make her too useful to discard, but objectively terrifying. This unofficial authority displayed by Sethano would prove extremely intimidating, not only to civilians and soldiers of the Astra Militarum, but also to members of the Inquisition and even warriors of the Adeptus Astartes. Sethano would earn such an intimidating reputation due to her reaction befalling the fate of the Piercing Thorn. Sethano would discover that her order had become tainted, and in response demanded that the Inquisition purge her order from existence. While the exact details as to what this taint could have been are unknown, Sethano would lead an assault against her former order that butchered every sister of the Piercing Thorn, be they a seasoned battle sister or young novitiate. Sethano would personally slay all of the Order's prioresses before burning the Fortress Abbey to the ground, and consecrating where it stood with blessed salt. From this point on, Sethano would declare herself to be a canoness errant, travelling across the galaxy to wage war against heretics in the name of the Emperor, and over the course of her journeys, Sephino would battle alongside the Grey Knights, the Black Dragons, and even Commissar Sebastian Yarrick on multiple occasions. But the main question that needs to be asked is just what was this taint that befell the Order of the Piercing Thorn? One possibility is that the Sisters of the Piercing Thorn had succumbed to Genestealer infestation, and as such, the Order could theoretically have been transformed into a Genestealer cult. Genestealers are notorious for their infiltration process, which is both slow and insidious, needing only a single Genestealer organism to initiate it. The creature will infect an unsuspecting host with its own genetic material by utilizing an ovipositor situated upon its tongue. This viral seed will then either gestate within the host body or instill the infected with the compulsion to mate, which in turn results in the development of hybridized offspring. While first-generation hybrids will always appear more Genestealer than host organism, each successive generation will grow to resemble the host species more and more until they reach their fourth generation. Any offspring produced by a fourth-generation hybrid will spawn a pure-strain Genestealer, which will become revered by the infected as figures akin to saints or angels. As more individuals become infected and fall under the psychic sway of the Genestealer that sired the cult, which over time evolves into an organism known as a patriarch, the infected will begin to worship the patriarch as a parental figure or even a deity in its own right. As the cult grows in power, so too does the patriarch in both size and psychic potency. Eventually this cult will grow so large that it will begin to emit a subconscious psychic signal that will attract a Tyrannid hive fleet towards its location, which upon arrival will consume all biological matter upon the world, an act that the members of the cult will view as the coming of star gods that will ascend them to a higher plane of existence. Genestealer cults and the Adeptus Sororitas have been known to clash against one another upon a number of different worlds, and as such, it is certainly possible that a member of the Sisterhood could become infected with a Genestealer's genetic material. Such a possibility is not entirely unprecedented, as such an incident is strongly hinted at within the novel Cult of the War Mason. The sororitas of the Order of the Somber Vow would battle against a Genestealer cult that began an uprising upon the world of Lubentia. During the course of the conflict, Sister Superior Trishala would become captured by the cult's magus, who attempted to bring her under the cult's sway, though she would resist and shatter the mental illusions projected by the magus. Despite the cult eventually being wiped out, the epilogue would seem to imply that Trishala had indeed become infected with Genestealer genetic material, which would allow a new cult to rise from the ashes of the former.
In the midst of war, she'd unexpectedly found enlightenment. Trishala had been blessed to carry that gift within her, that one day she might bring others the glory of ascension.
If infected sororitas simply give birth to hybridized offspring without first needing to find a partner to copulate with, then a Genestealer infestation could indeed swiftly spread throughout a sororitas order, should the sisters fail to spot the telltale signs of infection. But should those infected with the viral seed of a Genestealer require a sexual partner to produce a hybrid offspring, then it would not be impossible for a sororitas to obtain one. For according to one of the numerous footnotes documented within the novel Cain's Last Stand, the women of the Adeptus Sororitas are not forbidden from indulging in sexual activity.
Contrary to popular belief, the Adeptus Sororitas doesn't actually require its members to remain celibate, although few find the time to take advantage of the fact.
There is another possibility in regards to the source of the taint that befell the Order of the Piercing Thorn, in that the Order had fallen to chaotic corruption. This may initially seem unlikely due to the fact that the sororitas have claimed with a high degree of pride that unlike the genetically enhanced warriors of the Adeptus Astartes, no members of the Sisterhood have ever fallen to chaos. Despite this, such statements are objectively false, for it has been documented that multiple Sisters of Battle have succumbed to the temptations of the ruinous powers. The first and most infamous of these individuals is that of Muriel Sabathiel, who for a time was said to be the only sororitas to fall to damnation. Sabathiel would willingly pledge herself to the Chaos God Slaanesh following a battle between the Order of Our Martyred Lady and the Emperor's Children Traitor Legion upon the world of Verdicon. Sabathiel would be declared as missing in action by her sisters, but it would later transpire that she had aligned herself with the depraved followers of Slaanesh, and in time, Sabathiel would even go on to lead her own Slaaneshi warband. Another incident of a sororitas falling to the worship of chaos is detailed within the short story Heart and Soul from the Sisters of Battle Omnibus with Sister Oleand. Oleand was a vicious and savage warrior from the Order of the Valorous Heart, who fell to the worship of the chaos god Khorne. After turning to chaos, Oleand would abandon her order and go on to lead a heretic warband of her own, where she would adopt the title of the Iconoclast. The Iconoclast would reveal the reason behind pledging herself to Khorne to Sister Maria of Our Martyred Lady.
Remember the woman you fought with at the Icarus front? You saw me, even if you never wished to admit it. You saw how much I loved the cut and the kill. And after a while, the faith and fire our rancid corpse emperor gave me wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted blood and skulls. Khorne answered my need.
It would also be revealed that the various orders of the Adepta Sororitas will go to extreme lengths to keep the knowledge of sisters falling to chaos hidden from others. Not only will an order send kill teams to track down and slay those who turn to chaos, along with those who learn of their existence, but even go as far as to have other sisters adopt the identity of those who had fallen to damnation, in order to maintain the deception that no sororitas had fallen to corruption. This could also explain as to why nobody knows the truth behind the taint that befell the Order of the Piercing Thorn, as the assault upon the Piercing Thorn's Fortress Abbey was conducted by a number of Sororitas Order militant, leaving Canoness Sephano as the only pure and surviving member of her order. But in either case, why didn't Sephano also succumb to the taint that befell the Piercing Thorn? One possibility is that Sephano's faith was simply stronger than that displayed by her sisters, allowing her to remain uncorrupted. But the most likely reason could be due to the possibility that Sephano was simply not upon the world of her order when the taint befell it. The novel Death of Antagonists states that Sephano's faith and leadership was so highly regarded that she was even considered as a potential candidate to fill the vacant seat of Abbess Sanctorum within the Convent Prioris upon Terra. As such, it is certainly a distinct possibility that Sephano was on Terra when her order succumbed to this unspecified corruption, leading to the Piercing Thorn being sentenced to extinction upon their Canoness's return. Ultimately, the only person who knows the truth in regards to what befell the Piercing Thorn is Sephano herself. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.